And now we just wait for the live feed.
Awesome.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Ask the Expert. So, we host these Ask the Expert sessions once, sometimes twice a week with influencer members from within the IAW community. And it gives us an opportunity to sit down and learn about these members, but also we call them Ask the Expert because I get to ask questions and we get to learn and walk away with actionable advice that you can go apply anywhere. If you are watching us on LinkedIn, so you might see me looking over to the right from time to time because my LinkedIn feed is on that screen. If you are there as well, say hello, let us know where you're joining from. And of course, if you have questions, pop them in the chat. We'll be live for about 15 to 20 minutes and cover as much as we can in that time. But of course, if there's things you want to follow up on, more questions you have, we have our experts LinkedIn profile linked right in the episode information as well. So go connect and learn more in that way as well. So I'm super excited to have Coach Adrian joining me today. Coach Adrian is an empowerment coach and wears many hats, a strategist, an agent of transformation, a leader, an author, and a psychotherapist. Her passion lies in guiding leaders at every stage of their journey, whether stepping into their first leadership role, navigating transitions, or seeking a deeper alignment with their purpose. She works with her clients to uncover strengths, to refine their vision, and really design the fulfilling life and career that they are meant to lead. Now, Adrian's background is fascinating. We were just talking about this before we went live. She started with a dream of practicing law. After some time in the legal field, she answered a deeper calling that led her to healthcare and psychotherapy and evolved into working as a group psychotherapist to taking on leadership roles where coaching became a cornerstone of the work that she does. So she has this unique blend of mental health expertise and leadership experience that helps her clients overcome limiting beliefs, navigate change with confidence, and foster resilience in the face of challenges. So today, as I told Adrian before we went live, this topic today I'm so excited about because I think it's something that we can all benefit from. So I'm going to dive into my questions. I love all of you saying hello in the chat, so thank you. It's so good to see you. So our topic today is reclaim your focus, simple mindset shifts for peak productivity. And I think there's always this mentality of like, get more stuff done, get more stuff done, get more stuff done. And we talk a lot about peak productivity and what that means. But I want to start off with looking at mindset and the role that it plays in success. And what would you say is one common belief that holds women back in this area?
Um, so I actually have this series called Mindset Matters, because our mindset really is the foundation of how we see ourselves, what we believe we're actually capable of, and the opportunities that we allow ourselves to step into. And so, what most of us don't realize is that we have more than one mindset. And so there's the growth mindset, the one that says, I may not know how to do this just quite yet, but I can figure it out. Those people have they don't wait for the perfect conditions before they take an action. They move, they learn, they adjust along the way, and they see challenges as opportunities to stretch and refine their skills to grow into the person who they were created to be. And so to them, failure isn't a dead end, it's just feedback and a lesson. And then there is the fixed mindset. And this one is where you can get stuck for years, right? So it's kind of that soft voice whispering to you that this is just how I am. I'm not good at this. I'll never figure it out. I don't want to be bothered. Um, and instead of seeing challenges as growth opportunities, that mindset kind of sees them as threats and proof that you're not enough. And so you avoid taking risks, you fear failure, and you convince yourself that playing it safe is really the best option. And the reality is that we all live double-minded. So we might have a growth mindset in certain areas of our lives. Maybe we're confident on our jobs. Maybe it's about being a parent or leadership. But then when it comes to taking personal risks, like starting a business or stepping into a new role or making some major life shift, that fixed mindset kind of sneaks in and starts whispering, what if I fail? What if I don't have what it takes? And before you know it, you've kind of talked yourself out of the very thing that you've been believing for. And so, one of the biggest ways that this shows up for women is I don't have time, to your point earlier. So we say it, I just don't have time for, and then we kind of drift into what we don't have time for. And I get it. We do take on a lot. We have our career, we have our families, friendships, responsibilities, society expectations. And so it really does feel like there aren't enough hours in the day, but we have to challenge that because while it is the reality that we see, the truth is that we make time for what we prioritize. And so if something feels necessary, we figure it out, which is why we wear so many hats. And so many times you may have said, I don't have the time to work out or go get my hair done or read that book. But then I know I've done this myself. I spend hours scrolling on social media. Or you might find yourself in back-to-back meetings and saying, I can't step away for a break or go to enjoy my lunch. I used to have people remind me to take a lunch. And then you wind up working later in the day just to kind of keep up. But if an emergency happens, suddenly you make time and you take that PTO. So why? It's because our priorities shifted and we figured it out. And so that's proof right there that time isn't necessarily the issue. It's how we prioritize our time, our how we prioritize most of the time. And so under that underlying factor in that is fear. Fear is getting in our way because prioritizing ourselves, our purpose, our goals, that next level might mean stepping into something new. It might mean feeling discomfort and confronting the unknown, and that can be scary. So while fear is real, it doesn't get to run our show. Fear has makes us hesitate. We'll overthink it, and it keeps us in those cycles of almost starting and almost finishing. And before we know it, we've convinced ourselves that we're too busy. And so when we shift to a growth mindset, we realize we don't really necessarily need free time, those hours for free time to make progress. We really need to be more actually intentional because 5 minutes of action is better than putting it off for an entire day.
You just shared so many great things. And I'm laughing because Vicky in the chat said, stop telling on me, Adrian, because we're all putting off the gym to scroll on Instagram. But that's so true. So I fall into this category where if I don't get my workout done in the morning, I blow it off the rest of the day because if I can't have the whole 30 minutes, I won't do 5 minutes. And it's such a it's me, right? It's my priorities, it's me. And I,
Mm-hmm.
it's an area I'm doing a lot of work on right now. So perfectly timed conversation. So when we talk about I want to talk about the shift from scarcity to abundance thinking because this is something I see come up often. Do you have any strategies you can share that would help somebody shift from scarcity to abundance thinking and reframe some of those negative thoughts?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, because many of us don't even realize when we're operating in a scarcity or fixed mindset, because it's like that background noise that we've heard so long, we don't even question it anymore. So, it's important to really acknowledge that, again, fear fuels our limiting beliefs. So, that fear of failure, the fear of judgment, even the fear of success, right? So, that voice can creep in and kind of start to take over and start to run our show, and then we shrink back. And so we wind up in self-sabotage um, and in subtle ways that keep us stuck. So self-sabotage doesn't always look like us quitting something, right? Sometimes it's just simply procrastination, waiting for the perfect time that seems to never come around. Sometimes it's overthinking, getting stuck in that planning mode instead of taking action. And oftentimes it's perfectionism, right? Convincing yourself that you can't start until everything is right. And so it also might show up as you downplaying what your gifts are. Maybe you feel like you're not good enough for it. And sometimes it does look simply like just walking right away from it, but right before the breakthrough comes, because it's so uncomfortable that it's like a weight that's too heavy to bear. And so we can shift and rewire our minds to focus on possibility instead of limitation, and abundance thinking instead of lack. And so there are like three ways that we can do that. One is to be honest with ourselves, right? It's to challenge our thoughts. So before you can shift to an abundance mindset, you have to be honest about where you are. Scarcity thinking is sneaky, but it often disguises itself as logic, being cautious, or even being humble, right? So being honest means asking yourself sometimes, what am I believing that's keeping me stuck? Or am I making an excuse, or am I really facing the truth? What patterns are in my thinking that need to change? And so you can't fix what you don't face. So if you catch yourself thinking, I don't have enough time, enough resources, or skills, be honest. And is that actually the truth? Because sometimes it's just you don't want to, not that you don't have the time. So honesty is the first step. The second one is to be intentional, to shift our language and our environment. So once you're honest with yourself about what beliefs are holding you back, be intentional about changing them. So the way that you talk to yourself, the people you surround yourself with, the content that you consume while scrolling, all shape our mindsets. And so in my psychotherapy groups, I used to tell my clients that if you wanted to see some change, you needed to change your people, places, and things. And so for our mindsets, we need to just really be intentional with our language. So instead of I'm not, saying I am. Intentional with our actions, replace but with and. So I don't have everything I need, and I can start with what I have versus but. Also be intentional about our environment, right? So distancing yourself from negativity that you surround yourself with. Again, be it the social media, because sometimes it can be it can actually drain you. It could be the people that you talk to on the phone sometimes. Like we do exchange energy. So if you find yourself hopping off of a phone call and you feel drained, that's a red flag. So being intentional is key, because our mindset really doesn't shift on accident. It took a while for you to get the fixed mindset. So it's gonna take some time and intentionality in order for you to shift it. And then the third thing is being consistent and taking action and keep moving. So again, mindsets don't shift overnight, and it's an ongoing process. So you can't beat yourself up. But it can shift with the consistent action. And so just consistently reframing your negative thoughts. Every time a thought pops up, don't beat yourself up about it, catch it and replace it with abundance thinking. Consistently practicing gratitude, that one helped me tremendously. So focus on what's already good, what's already working, and what's already available to you. And I always add to this to be very specific with it, right? Because we can look at the sun and say, oh, I'm thankful that I could see this morning. But how about we can be even a little bit more specific in that and say, I'm thankful that I can see the blue sky, the yellow sun, the rays, how it feels. I mean, just being very specific really does shift our mood and our thoughts for the day. And then consistently taking steps towards the goal, right? So even small progress builds confidence and momentum. So when you are consistent, then you get that stick-to-itiveness, and then you're able to change your habits. So if you only challenge your thought once every blue moon, or only speak affirmations when you feel like it, then you stay stuck in that cycle. So it's a daily choice.
That you said something to the effect of, I wrote it down because it was it hit me. Mindset doesn't shift without effort, right? It's not something that I'm going to wake up tomorrow and say I have a growth mindset. I have to decide and be intentional about building it. And I think that's so important
Mhm.
to remember that anybody can do this. It's not it you don't have to be special to
Yeah.
be able to say today is the day. But I love the three: being honest with yourself, intentional, and consistency, right? And
Yes.
so I want to talk about, you work with a lot of leaders, and we know that when leading teams, whether large or small, there can be setbacks or big challenges. And so how do the most successful leaders cultivate that growth mindset and
Mm.
overcome those setbacks with resilience? Because often we see the external view and we don't necessarily see all the inside stuff going on. And you take a step back and you're like, wow, that's really impressive. But what are they doing that is working?
So I love this question as well because one thing is that they realize that setbacks are not optional in leadership. They are definitely a guarantee, but that failure is actually the choice. So, first, let me say that resilience isn't about avoiding challenges. It's really about learning how to navigate through them. So, just because something didn't work out this time doesn't mean that you're on the wrong path. It could simply mean that you need to adjust your sails. So, successful leaders, they don't see the challenges as proof that they aren't capable. They don't take that closed door as a sign to stop. Instead, they recognize it as a setback as part of the process. And so when things don't go as planned, they don't sit in it for a very long time. They lean into the lesson. And they do this by shifting their self-doubt, and they start to self-reflect. And so shifting from self-doubt to self-reflection is about changing how you respond to challenges. So while the self-doubt keeps you stuck in hesitation and questioning your abilities, and fearing failure before you even begin, self-reflection turns that setback into questions as to how I can learn. So instead of allowing the doubt to make you again, I lean into the scrolling on Facebook and Instagram, but also just not even working out, right? Because I'm with you, Megan. I tell myself I'm going to get up and work out, and then things get in the way, and then I don't do it, and then I beat myself up about it.
That's what I was just going to say, is it becomes this cycle of
Cycle, yeah.
then
And
I
so
feel bad about it, but it doesn't drive me to change my behavior the next day. It's fascinating to me.
exactly, exactly. So they don't ruminate too long on what didn't happen. It's why didn't I work out this morning? And what do I need to shift to make sure that I can work out tomorrow? Or to your point, I can at least take 5 minutes and do some stretches or something today. That way I at least got my workout in. So the way that we speak to ourselves definitely matters.
Mhm.
And so at the core, shifting from self-doubt to self-reflection is really about trusting the ability to grow, and not just avoiding those setbacks, but using them as stepping stones, right? And so I'll be honest, I've had that again, not just with working out, but I've had plenty of moments where things didn't go as I had expected. I do remember stepping up at work and I saw a gap, and I took the initiative to kind of create this new role that I truly believed that was perfect for me. I put my heart and my time in it. I even wrote the job description, right? Went through the interview process only to not get the position. Can you say disappointed? I was very disappointed. And so my instinct was to question myself, right? Was I really good as I thought I was? Um, is this where I'm even supposed to be, right? Because now I'm questioning if I should even be at the company. And it would have been easy for me to sit in that space of doubt and frustration and overthinking, but resilience, I had to stop pretending that the setback didn't hurt, right? I had to be honest with myself. I am hurt. Okay. Adrian, now what are you going to do about that? And instead of letting that disappointment define me, I shifted my mindset and started to say, did the role actually align with my purpose? Because I know what my purpose in life is. And that could have been a distraction that I thought I was supposed to take. Would the role have taken more time than I was actually willing to give? Because I also at the time was looking for work-life harmony. So those are some ways that you can overcome and cultivate the growth mindset is really just being intentional and knowing that it's about navigating, not that you won't experience anything negative, but just learning how to navigate it.
Get it. Yeah. I whenever we talk about resilience and setbacks, I always pull my oldest daughter as an example. She's 16 years old and she plays goalie on the soccer field. And it's a challenging position because the if the ball lands in the back of the net, she was the last line of defense. And I have watched her evolve to where now she goes back and watches gameplay, the tape if it's available, and reviews to say, okay, what could I have done better? Learn from
Mm,
it, also does take the mindset of there's a whole team. They had to get down the entire field before they got to her. So she's not only taking the blame, but she's growing, she's learning from what's happening and reinvesting that energy into being a better player instead of sitting there and getting upset about the goal being made. And I give her so
yeah,
much credit because I'm like at 16, that's big.
that is.
We can all learn from that.
Yeah.
So, what's the key to setting intentional goals that stick and staying focused on possibilities instead of fears?
Another great question. So I am definitely a strategist. So what I do is I partner with my clients and I help them, we together, we create aligned and purpose-driven goals that they actually want to stick to. And so, because if you think about it, setting a goal just because it looks good on paper isn't just enough for you to stay committed to it when the motivation and the energy starts to fade off. You really need a goal that energizes you, that challenges you, and that connects you to a bigger vision. And so that's why we focus on setting goals that are personal. So the goal has to be for you, not just what sounds good. Many times we may have said, set a goal because that's what we thought we were supposed to be doing, like that position I was trying to go for. Maybe it seems like the next logical step in our career. Maybe we saw someone else doing it and it looked good, but deep down you weren't really excited about it. So that's why we start with my clients, we start with who you are, right? So I walk them through, we discuss values, strengths, leadership styles, behavioral tendencies to kind of uncover what truly matters to them. So that way the goal really will align with their core identity as to where they are right now. And it doesn't feel as much like a struggle, right? Because it's going to challenge you, but it doesn't feel as much like a struggle. So I'll ask them questions like, why does the goal matter to you? Are you excited about it? Or does it feel like an obligation? And if no one else knew you were doing it, would you still want to do it? And so when the goal is truly yours, you fight for it. You won't just do it because it looks good. You'll do it because it feels right. And so
Right.
I actually had to learn that myself in my own business. When I started out as coaching, it was a struggle. I didn't have any mentors. I struggled to stay motivated. And honestly, I quit at one point. I honestly walked away from it. I was like, it's too much. I can't do it. Let me go back into corporate. But I kept feeling this nudge, right? Which was my purpose. And it wasn't until I redefined success on my own terms, not based off of what I was seeing other coaches do at the time, focusing on the impact that I wanted to make and the alignment. That's when I found a whole new level of commitment. And then I also have some business besties who have helped me stay focused on that when I get
Business
demotivated or start to lose
besties.
that motivation. Yes.
Those I love a good accountability partner, someone
Yes.
that you can be honest and authentic with and get real advice, not just pat on the back.
Mm-hmm.
That can be really, really helpful. So we are going to have to
Okay.
wrap up soon. I do have one final question. So my last question here, what's one actionable step that we can all take to move toward purposeful, outcome-driven success?
It's going to sound so simple, yet not simple. But one powerful step that you could take today is simply to decide and move. Not next week, not when you feel safe, not when the time is right, but right now. Just make up your mind and say, I'm doing this, I'm committed to this, and I'm going to move forward. And then take one action to actually do it. Be it if you feel like you need to make a phone call and you don't have time, send a text message, but just act on it.
You're right. It sounds so simple. But it's such an important point. Vicky did just pop a question in the chat, but I'm gonna encourage Vicky to reach out to you through message on LinkedIn. The two of you, I'm sure will have a delightful conversation. I know Vicky, she's fantastic. And
Awesome.
her question is around the analysis of the situation becoming paralysis. Unfortunately, we're
Mm.
at time, so we can't dive in right now, but Vicky, connect with Adrian and
Yes.
guide, right? That last question, that last tip, just make the decision and start taking small action. Adrian, this was a joy. Thank you so much for being here. Loved the
Thank you.
conversation, loved all the information you shared. To all of you watching, be sure to connect with Adrian on LinkedIn. Go check out everything she offers. And of course, if this resonated, reach out to her and see if there's connections. See if she can help support you through any challenges or setbacks or mindset changes that you need to make. So I hope you all have
Definitely.
a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you back here again soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Megan. Bye, everyone.